Hello YouTube, this is Big White. Welcome to my channel. Today I am doing a Halloween theme with an owl. I got this idea from a book. The colors were muted, so they were kind of muddy looking, and I wanted to do a bunch of different medias. Right now I'm using ink, and you seen I was using the gold paint. Eventually I use colored pencils, watercolor pencils, gel pen, a bunch of different medias to go along with it. All I'm trying to do now is just build up a foundation of grays. I watered down my inks pretty heavily. I only put 3 drops of black, and it was, I don't remember, I think it was 5 of the water. So like I'm saying, all I'm trying to do is just build up my grays here. I kind of feel like I failed on this one, but I like it at the same time. I should have put different highlights, maybe like purple highlights in the owl instead of just white. There wasn't a whole lot of contrast, but I was actually going for that vintage look that I seen in the book. And I just keep building up the layers. That's why I like watering down the inks, because then they're not just a straight black. You can build up the grays how you want. And here I'm just doing wet on wet to give it that shine in the hat. And I do the same thing at the bottom. I would like to take this time and ask, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I mean, it helps the channel, and if you could like this video, I do appreciate it. Here I was just thinking of just doing the whole painting in just black and grays, so that's what I was doing with the pumpkin, but I didn't like how the pumpkin was turning out, so eventually I turned to my colored pencils and watercolor pencils. But first I go to the moon, and I wanted to draw in the divots of the moon, the craters. And I'm just using the black ink that I watered down earlier. Here in a second I water down the black really heavy. Right there's where I'm watering it down. And then I come and go over the whole owl. It's a real light gray. And then I come over to the moon and I do the same thing. I make it more of shadows on the moon. I was looking at the pumpkin going, I should just color this in. So I grabbed my watercolor pencils and I start shading around. I use orange red in the beginning just to give it that deep depth look. Then I come in with a yellow. Oh no, that's the brown, sorry. I come in with the brown first, then I come in with the yellow. And I still am not happy with how the pumpkin's turning out. So I grab my color pencils. I start going over where I think the lightest part should go. Then I go to the darkest, because the light source is the moon. This took me roughly around 2 hours, I think it was, to paint this. So I didn't want to put up a 2-hour video, so I sped it up really heavily. And I come in with some markers. And I just darken up where the shadow spots should be. Then I start highlighting stuff with the gel pen. Here in a second I get out to watercolors and I do the very background. And all I'm doing is mixing a dark blue with some black. I make it more on the blue side than the dark side. Then I just do a wet on wet. Make sure to leave a bunch of puddles so when it dries it has darker spots in certain areas. Then I'll let this dry and I will come in with my white color pencil and I go over, try to make some clouds that weren't too distinctive. I was trying to give that halo around the moon with a color pencil. And this is where I just start sketching in some clouds. And that's all I'm going to do is just sketch them. And I don't want them to be too defiant like I was saying. Then I get a lighter gray out and I just go over that. And that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, got gel pen around where the highlights would be. And this is what it looks like. Alright, thank you. Like I said, please subscribe and have a great day.